two different YouTubes to choose from, and I was like, shit. I don't know which one to choose. And no matter which one you choose, it streams to, hopefully, your YouTube. Yeah, there it is.
No, I had the same issue. I just, like, pounded it into submission, by which I mean I did a stream, like a test stream, and then I, like, went in and tried it, and then it didn't work, and then I went in and tried the other one, and it didn't work. They had 3 the day of the update. They had a 1080p one, they had a YouTube events, and then they had a fucking whatever that last one piece of shit is. And only one of them works, and that's YouTube events. And it only works half the time. You have to do that, you delete it and add it, like, every 3 days or some shit.
Okay. Well, it's working. And Anaxor Live, hello.
Aloha. I guess I'll pull up your chat and then watch me work.
Yep, I got Watch Me Work to work.
Yay!
And that makes me incredibly happy.
I think I received a tweet that says that you are online.
Oh, that's a good thing. I should tweet. I should totally tweet.
Not gonna tweet?
Oh,
God knows what that buzz was. What is going on? Oh, I have to spell Gmail properly.
tweeted. Alright.
Watch, this whole time I was probably trying to log in with my Star Wars account. Yelp.
Pop that over there. Pop this down here.
So you want to start at like 4:05?
Yes.
The timing all good and shit.
Yes, we will be starting our show live in about 3-ish minutes.
You want to start with horsey picture?
Sure, I was about to ask you that. I'm like, green, red, or blue?
We can start with the blue. Do you want me to do drawing and then pass it to you when we get to the hoovies? Or do you want to start and then pass it to me when you get to hoovies?
I don't know. We usually start with the drawing side, but we can start with the color if you like.
I am ambivalent, my dear. Whatever is easiest for your transitionness.
Okay. Drawing first, then.
Coolio. I pops out the chat. So I has the watch me work chat.
Okay.
And I has my share screen up. Let me pull up the horsey picture.
There we go. Yeah, so you'll be up there. Oh, the way I do it, instead of like switching back and forth between our screens, I just put the share screen of you up, and then I move you to the side when I do mine, and then I bring you back when you start again.
Oh, that's easier. Yep. Totally easier. Okay. I did not. I was wondering how you did it. Anyways. Leave a dash in the chat.
Yep, along with Anaxor Live, Character 3000, and Sideshow.
Hello, everyone! Welcome to the show!
Which will be starting momentarily.
Just want to make sure I have all the things. Oh yeah, I'm not in streamer mode on Discord, so I'm gonna have to exit out of that. So we don't get a lot of doop-doop.
Yep.
Especially if Astrid hits the fan about some credits.
Yep. Alright, here we go. Hello everyone, my name is Jasmo, and I am Well, I'm welcome by. Oh my god, I totally lost my train of thought. Morbid Dinosaur is my partner today in the Watch Me Work Critique Show.
How you doing?
And we have 3 pieces from 3 different artists. Today we are starting with Anonymous 2016 and her lovely forest horse picture. Do you remember what this is called?
I changed the name, but I can look. It is
Nature.
called Nature's Embrace.
Yep,
Sorry.
there you go. Nature's Embrace. And we're going to start with the drawing side.
Okie dokie. So first of all, I really want to say I completely applaud this person's ability. I don't know if this was she in the chat.
Not that I know.
Okay. So I love her her sense of design for these horses, because if you look through her gallery, all of them are somehow different. She has like a story to tell in all of them. I particularly enjoy the grass right here in the front. I think it was just a beautiful touch, to show distance. It was well executed. Kind of looks movie cutscene-ish, right, Des?
Mm-hmm.
And this little green piece of grass, I don't know, I feel like it really pulls it all together. So this has a lot of really good points about it. I can't really say much of the color-wise other than I think it's a really pretty blue horse. I like it. So just some notes on some drawing and composition type things. I can't really get too much into light because I'm not really good at lighting, but from a composition point of view, which I think goes into lighting, these are the light rays that you have shooting off in your picture. So you would have to have a light source here to light this horse up in these ways, in addition to having one behind it. And then you would have to have a very a bright light very close to the ground, casting light in a I'm sorry, I lost the word refracted.
Yes.
Refracted light, really close to the ground in order to shoot these rays in different directions. Because the sun is above you and it shoots all in the same direction. So I would have picked one of these as my direction. I like this one because I like the glowy bits in it and stuff like that. So I mirrored where all of your light rays would hit and light this scene and light this horse from the same direction. So just something to keep in mind. When the sun is above, every light ray is going to be in the same direction as your main one. So that was a note on the lighting, just when you're planning your picture. From a drawing point of view, reference is good for many things, particularly if you're drawing something that you haven't drawn before, or maybe it's kind of challenging. I did find this reference, and I'd like to draw your attention to this part right here, which is this skin flap is a little too low on your horse because the knee is actually up here. You did draw the knee, it's just that somehow when you were in the process of your drawing, you put the skin connection here when it's actually supposed to be up there. So you would be able to see the curve of the stomach going back, the detachment of the leg from the actual torso, and then your skin pull would be much farther up. Because from bone placement, this is the knee, and you have it so that this the shin almost is attached to the stomach. So just to point that out, reference is good. Reference is lovely. The eye, I appreciate from a stylistic point of view that this type of eye does make a horse look very graceful, very dainty, almost like a fantasy creature, like a unicorn. So if this was a style choice, I applaud you. It's a very beautiful style choice. If this was was not a conscious choice, then reference again. You have to face the eye in the same direction as your horse is looking. So this front part would be a lot shorter. If this was a style choice, then of course you're absolutely fine. But if you're trying to make it look like a natural horse eye, then some of the anatomy is a little off. So again, references can help. References are good. You can still do a very beautiful, delicate eye with your eye tapering on the ends. And still keep it accurate to a horse eye. So again, reference. And then from a distraction point of view, from a drawing point of view, your horse hooves do kind of bother me just a little bit. Only because you cannot see all of them, so it makes it look like if it's called gestalt. When you pull a picture away from yourself and you see how it reads when it's farther away or very small. And the gestalt in this picture tells me that this horse has no hooves. Jasmine's going to have a little bit to say about that because of color. I would have liked you not to have drawn any grass in front of these hooves because it makes it seem like the horse has very small feet, or that the hooves are misshapenly shaped. And I believe that if you're this good at drawing horses, you know how to draw horse hooves. So hiding them with grass, for me, doesn't help put her in the picture. It makes it look like the hooves aren't there in the first place, and so the creature looks misplaced. Jasmine, anything else I might have missed?
For the drawing side, I don't think so.
Alright, then it's all to you.
Okay, on my side, I will touch more on the color, not so much, composition-wise. Mainly just color and some lighting, and the lighting is going to focus mainly on the horse and this mid-ground instead of the foreground, or too much even on the background. I did notice you have some really shiny, highlighty spots that are very pretty, and this one over here, actually, could be correct if you had light passing through behind the horse. So this one isn't necessarily like an incorrect place to have that, but your light source may not be strong enough to have it be that bright. Over here, the tail and the rump of the horse are extremely brightly lit, which makes me think that the light source is about here for that extreme light, because you have no light passing through the tail, and the tail, usually horsehair is pretty thick, so light doesn't pass through it that well. This little green guy, he pulls attention out of other places. He basically is just a bright spot to look at. Right here, I keep circling it, I'm on the wrong layer. He would not be, that piece of grass probably wouldn't be lit as brightly as it currently is, because there's no actual ray of light on it. There is over here on the side, and that should probably be highlighted a bit more. I did do a little painting over. I'll go back and forth a couple times so you can see. I highlighted just back here a little bit on the trees, to show that the light is here, and this is an openy kind of meadow on the road type thing, and that there is a transition from a light to a dark space. On the horse itself, I did darken up those really shiny points, because for the most part, this horse is in shade. Like, it's in the shade of the trees. There's no dappled light coming down over here, this way, anywhere. So most of the horse would be in shadow, and which makes the hooves extremely difficult to see. I did paint them out of the grass a little bit, and I tried to use a lighter color of the grass behind it to kind of emphasize contrast, so that the contrast of the grass and the hooves would make the hooves more visible. And you can still make it look like they're on the ground by putting a shadow beneath them instead of like they're floating in there. And putting the grass on the legs is probably where you would want to put the grass instead of on the hooves, so we can see them. And even though there's not much light over here, you can still put a little bit of dull shine on them to make them stand out more, so we can actually see them a little bit better. The ears are a bit transparent, especially when there is a very strong light shining on them. When there's not, they'll be a little less transparent, and you'll see less of that red pinkness shining through. I also noticed on your eye, it's super bright, even though light is not coming over the horse's nose to shine directly into the eye. It can still be shiny, just not as much. We're basically just softening all of the light on the horse itself, but I did add in some highlights on the tail back here to say that yes, there is light coming in this direction right here. And I also put some light on the top of the head right here on the mane to have a more consistent light that is shining in this direction, basically. And did I miss anything?
No.
Oh.
I think you pretty much hit it.
I did highlight the
different grass.
Yeah, the different grass. I moved the highlight from this one piece over here to the actual spotlight. There we go. And that's all the time we have for this piece. If you would like more information, Anonymous, please let us know either through DeviantArt or you can email me or leave a comment on YouTube. This is my email, jasmine@watchmework.com, and we will happily go over more things with you and for you, answer any questions you have, etc. And
yeah, and I'm available at any time. Go ahead.
The next piece.
This one is called Sylph by Fire Sparks. Is Fire Sparks with us today?
Let me check. As far as I can tell, no.
Okie doke.
At least not in the chat.
Alrighty. Let me just check to see if this color's gonna show up. There we go. So the very first thing that bothered me is that there was something about the relationship between the chin and the chest area. Mr. Pandas, how you doing? That bothered me. So this is a trick you'll see each and every time I do a critique and there's a figure in it. You take the head, you lasso it, copy it, and drop it down, and then you have a point of reference. And so I usually only draw 3 landmarks. I draw the top of the head in relation to the chin. I draw the bottom of the chin in relation to the nipple, and then I take a third of the head, which you can either do from the nose to the chin, or any third of the head, and you measure from the chin to, in this one it turned out to be about the eyebrows. That is where your collarbone should be. So that is, to me, where this drawing begins to feel off. Because if this was the collarbone, that would be your 7th cervical vertebrae. Your shoulder bone would actually be here, and so that's what to me makes your drawing feel a little off. Even though other than that, you're pretty good with the proportions. You nailed this part right. It was just the stuff in between got a little smushed in the drawing. So that's where I would start proportion-wise. Just grab the head, drop it down, copy it, and then draw out some landmarks so you know where to go in the future. So let's see here. The hair, I had to do a little bit of figuring to see where exactly the hairline would have started on this person. Now, if this person had a round hairline, which it does happen in nature and in fashion, the round hairline would be up here for sure. Most commonly, you have a small widow's peak for almost everyone. So that is where I would start this hair out personally. However, that's not exclusive. It could be a style choice, and so my suggestion here would be to have your hair growing out of the scalp in this direction and then curve it over in this direction. Because the placement makes it seem like the hair is floating off the head, the direction of the hair doesn't denote that it's actually growing out of the head. So instead, it looks like it is growing from, oops. It looks like it is growing from this direction, which if the scalp is down here, it needs to be up and out. So that's a little note on the hair. The eye position, I had to do a little figuring to see what exactly was bothering me here. The eyes aren't focused in the same direction. So if we reposition the eye inside the socket and fix the hood of it, your eye turns out to be a little smaller to match this eye. And then I just painted some white in the background and positioned the pupils of the eye so that they looked like they were focused in the right direction. This little note is on how you can do that. If you were to just do a construction drawing of your eye socket, or of your actual eye, I'm sorry, and then you outline the white space and measure it eye for eye, you can pretty much nail where the eye position is supposed to be for both eyes. So that's how I got to these positions. They just needed to move over a little bit. And then a little note on when you're drawing a hooded eye. Hooded eyes have that same yes, but there is a little pocket that drops down to the outer edge there. And then your eye ends a little bit before that. So just a note on hooded eyes. Your nose doesn't really follow the planes of the face. So here are your planes. And your septum follows the same plane as the, gosh, I need to learn what this little part is called on the lip because I talk about it so much. But your septum is supposed to be about that wide. It is in this hook shape, which isn't necessarily accurate. You can still make a nose look dainty while still making the septum a good width, and then you would, from this angle, see a little bit of the nose off to the side. And then, you know, even though you made the nostril a little bit bigger, you can just push the nose out just a hair, and your nose shape remains the same. So just, you know, keep in mind your planes, and you'll be able to place these things a little bit more accurately. And that's pretty much all I had without getting into like some specifics on anatomy. So, Jess?
Okay. Come over to here. Let's see. My notes are be mindful of the face planes, and cast shadows, and I might touch a little bit on the background. The background actually, you know, is not incorrect, per se. The only thing I had to say was, backgrounds should be lighter. Okay, so I had it backwards. Oh, you'll have to ignore my fix on this. Background should be lighter than the foreground. So you had it correct. It took me a moment to figure out, like, why did that not work for me, and that's why. Let me very quickly, not on, give alpha, thank you, there we go. Let me just do this. Let me just do this, there we go. Anyways, face planes. I know you want a really young looking person, but they still have shapes to their face. The cheek in particular, that seems to be a lot of people's ambiguity spot, where they don't really know where to place the shadows when they know where their light source is. You, for the most part, do. The only place that we need a little bit of shadow on is right here underneath the cheek. Because we do have light coming in from the top, and you can tell by the nose and the forehead that this is our light spot, and since this is a different plane underneath of it, it needs just a little bit of shadow, not even a whole lot. Let me go back and forth here just a little bit to see where I touched on. Oh, cancel.
Reflected light on that cheek there.
Yep, there's a little bit of reflected light. Let me actually make a new layer. There we go. There's a little bit of reflected light that you could add. You did add it right here on the neck, which is great. And let's see, I think, did you... A little bit, yeah, there would be a little tiny bit on the nose. Where else was... I put just like the faintest of shadows right here, because this part of your face actually kind of curves in before it curves back out. That's really exaggerated, but that's how the shape of your face works in that particular spot. And let's see, you got the shadow on the nose really nice. I think, what else?
Didn't you put a little highlight on the corner of the eye?
I did. Thank you, yes.
Talking about makeup a little bit once you did that.
Yeah, we started talking about makeup. This corner of everyone's eye, young, old, no matter what your age, always has shine, quite literally right here. And it's pretty hefty as well. The shine is pretty severe. Oh, that's right. And your your eyelid. I can tell that your bottom eyelid is actually right here, but you shaded all the way out here, and it kind of muddled the shape of it just a little bit, so you could actually bring this light up to emphasize that, yes, this is the eyelid, instead of this whole area being the eyelid. What else did I do over here? And I pulled up the light just a little bit over here because we do have another shape. Let's see, we're light, yeah. And I pulled the shadow up just a little bit because of this plane right here on the cheek. See, other than that, your actual colors, great. Balance, great. I have pretty much nothing else to say other than focus on studying the real subtle, really subtle shapes of the face if you have a gentle light source, which you do.
I do like the drawing as in general. Like, I like the color scheme of it. I think that your vision of the pose was really strong. Shoulders are hard, and you seem to have nailed the like shoulders area with the, aside from the little proportion mistake or whatever, it looks really good. So yeah, and the gesture of the hair really captured me in this picture. So I do want to say that yes, yay hair.
Yeah. And that's all the time we have for this piece. Next up we have... what do we have?
I forget the name. Flame Empress by Jackie Felix Way. So, from a thumbnail point of view, this is a really strong image. Super strong. I like the composition. And I love the clothing. I looked through your gallery, and I adore the way that you do women's clothes. It's just that the closer you get to this picture, the issues start to come out a little bit for me. So from a drawing point of view, the face is really strong. We're talking like He-Man strong, like you've got it going on right in this area. But outside of that, you're having a few relationship problems. So proportions first, and again, we lasso the head and we bring it down. So you're drawing at about 9 heads tall, and that's an exaggerated proportion, no problem. There's books on drawing 9.5 heads tall. It's just that when you're drawing something with these exaggerated proportions, you have to keep the exaggerated proportions consistent. There are rules that you still have to follow. So on that vein, the chest area, you've elongated the torso. That's going to throw off your proportions a little bit, but you do have to also elongate the neck. So you would have to bring down the neck area, therefore bringing down the collarbone area. Your rib cage is elongated, so if the bottom of your rib cage was here, you would still have to bring up the crest of the rib cage and the sternum to about here, and your diaphragm muscle would be about there. So if this was where you were going to place her strappies, they would have to be just a little bit higher. Unless that was a style choice and it was supposed to drape across the top of the abdominal muscles, that would start somewhere in this area, maybe another color, somewhere about here. And then you'd have 2 and then a stomach, because at the bottom of your rib cage, your belly button actually is where that's positioned. So then when you're drawing the breast area, from underneath the deltoid in a comma shape to the sternum, cup around, even large breasts have this same shape. You do a comma, and there you go. Instead of looking like they're pulling from this direction, they'll look like they're pulling naturally from this direction. So you can even add all of the fluffy stuff that goes on top of that. So long as it looks like it's pulling from underneath the arm, it'll look more correct. The arms and the hands. My immediate suggestion to you would be, from now on, when you are drawing out the stick figure for your overall picture, you throw down your stick figure and then you measure. So here we have one arm, and then we have a forearm to the wrist. So we have this measurement. From the shoulder to the elbow on this side, we have this measurement. And so you see like this versus this, two entirely different measurements. And that's where your problems begin. So even if it doesn't feel right, the measurement will be right if you were to drop it a little farther back. So I just did a little correction. You would have to pull back the arm, keep it parallel pretty much with the dip in this rib cage. But because her arm is tilted back, it's more of an arc, so it's going to seem a little higher from this this divot in her body. The same thing with this. Like, you can draw a line over, but then it would arc backward because your arm is a pivot that goes back and forth. And then the hand would, of course, go back. And then it would be a lot smaller because the arm is shoved back. The hand would be smaller. This hand is, if you... Let me get a brighter color here. And a new layer. If you draw across the palm and do a measurement line, and then you draw from the crest of the hip to the top of the hip bone, this should all be the same measurement. Because when you put your hand on your hip, it will never take up more space across the palm than from the bottom of your rib cage to the top of your hip, unless you have crazy proportions. So just imagine that for a little bit. That's a good starting point for measurement. I had a couple more things, but I don't want to drive home the point too hard. Just study relationships and you'll get a better handle on anatomy and exaggerated proportions. So Jazz, it's on you.
All right, on to color. Fire. There is a lot of fire. I noticed there is fire coming out from her hands, and it looks like there is also fire behind her. It doesn't so much look like there is fire in front of her, but she is very clearly lit as if she's standing out in an open forest in the middle of the day, on a clear, sunny day. But I don't think that's actually where she is. It looks like she's more in a cave, and even if she had a ray of sunlight on her, there would be a lot more contrast in the light, in the shadows. And when you use fire, even outside, there's going to be a lot of high contrast. Oh, let me grab. Where'd it go?
You got it.
Right, here. So even this gal, if you can see, she is outside. It's kind of twilight daylight, but she's got sparklers. They're not even very bright sparklers, but you may notice this really dark line down the center of her neck. Even though she's outside and there is some twilight lighting up her face, the strength of light from these sparklers is so strong it creates a very stark shadow. And that's exactly what you need in this piece for things to read as fire. She looks great and beautiful, but if you really wanted ambient firelight, high contrast, your shadows would be pretty severe looking. And I didn't actually put them in, but I highlighted where they would be. This blue would all be a really stark shadow. She would have this nice line all the way down her body here, all the way down her leg. She would have a lot. Her hair back here would all be in shadow, in darkness, except for maybe a few rays that were peeking through. And then the pink is where she would be lit up if fire was behind her. She would have a lot of kick light showing. A lot of kick light showing in these places. And her hands would definitely have much more starker shadows as well. There'd be a huge amount of shadow, pretty dark shadow, all along in these areas. And then a little bit of light. Oh, come here, pink. A little bit of light because of this hand throwing light this way. There would be a little bit of light in these areas. Yes.
So this color scheme is this lighting scheme was a super complicated one.
Yes.
and it takes a lot of skill to be able to pull off so many light sources and so many particular light sources. So how would you suggest that he practice this kind of lighting?
Oh my, I would practice first with just 2 light sources. Oh yeah, there you go. I actually put more highlight in. 2 light sources. Don't even think about having a background light source, and probably practice on spheres and cubes and cones and just general shapes. So we'll do a little bit of a cone. If you have light coming in from both sides, your shadow is going to be right here in the middle, with your highlights being on either side. And I would practice on spheres, because there are plenty of spheres in this figure. Even on her nose, cheeks can kind of be little spheres, chins are spheres, shoulders are spheres, and there are plenty of rounded cube shapes as well. They're called legs. And lots of cylinders on your arms. Yep. I did also want to mention, like, the actual color. She would not have any of her natural skin tone showing. It would all be very golden, very orange, lots, like, really red. And I did put a filter over this.
Hello, Zal.
To sort of emphasize what it would be like. It's not perfect. This filter is definitely not perfect, and I wouldn't suggest using a filter or even just a layer set to a different setting. I set this to grain merge, and it looks like this. But when you put it over this, the image still reads as very strong, very striking. You can tell that there's a lady with fire in her hands right here. So you need to use more warm colors instead of natural, what I would call daylight tones. Because it looks like she is in a cave, there would be no actual daylight. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked all the filter thing. I know from a color standpoint it probably is like, please, but I don't know, I like it. But, you know, orange is my favorite color. Yeah, so overall, great thumbnail. But it's just like, from a full-on drawing point of view, just a couple issues.
And that's about all the time we have for this piece as well, and it's also our last piece. So we do critique shows every week. Time has moved to Saturdays at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central, and 1 p.m. Pacific. If you would like one of your pieces critiqued by us, you can email me at jasmine@watchmework.com. And Morbid, thank you for joining me once again.
Hey, no problem. I enjoy it.
And we will catch you guys all next time.